So, you like PlayStation, do ya? Me too. Well, kind of. Well, I like the hardware, kind of. It's pretty solid. The new PlayStation 5 controller feels nice. It's a very nice change from the, frankly, reasonably terrible controllers of their past anyway. Finally admitted that Microsoft were on the right design choice all along and modified their controllers to be more the shape of the Xbox controllers. Takes a lot to humble Sony like that. I like many of the system exclusives too. Spider-Man, for example, one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. God of War, pretty good too. But Sony as a company are one of the most shit-chokingly vile, hateful greedmongers in the gaming industry. And that's an industry already drowning in absolute monstrous anti-consumer, anti-human behavior. So that's really saying something for them to be one of the worst amongst that group. But today I want to specifically nail down on one single example of many, many examples of Sony being shitty. And why, out of any of the mind-numbing stupidity that is corporate fandoms, people who go to bat for these monstrous companies whenever anyone criticizes them, people who happily enslave their own human souls and call themselves Sony fanboys, or engage in the pathetic little tribalistic pissing wars with people who they consider to be Sony haters or fanbots of the other brand, or anyone who just says anything bad about Sony at all for that matter, out of all of those heartbreakingly stupid little brain-decaying subcultures, Sony fans might just be the absolute dumbest, most blind, most brainwashed, most brain-dead, most gullibly simple-minded of any and all gamer fandoms. And once again, that is really saying something considering what else is out there. Big breaths now. Hello again, I am Blunty. In 2016, after Microsoft's announcement of opening up full cross-platform, cross-network, cross-play across its whole platform to any developer who wanted to implement it, so long as Sony allowed it on their platform, of course, Sony said, in response to this gauntlet being thrown down by Microsoft,
"We would be happy to have the conversation with any publishers or developers who are interested in cross-platform play."
You can't hear the vampiristic blood dripping from their fangs at this point, but imagine it. The truth of that statement in the intervening years has proven to be largely, almost entirely in fact, bullshit, with Sony roadblocking cross-platform play at any and every opportunity they could. Turns out the conversation that Sony were willing to have was nothing more than them telling devs to get stuffed. A year later, when the likes of Rocket League and Minecraft wanted to go full cross-platform play across every platform they were on Nintendo Switch, on Windows PC, on Xbox, and even on Mac, allowing users of any and every one of those platforms to freely and easily and transparently play against or with one another, Sony's PlayStation 4, of course, was conspicuously missing from the list of compatible platforms. Their public excuse at that time was basically,
"Won't somebody think of their children? I like to think of their children and their parents' wallets."
Despite, of course, the example of Nintendo, one of the most notoriously aggressive underage player-based protective companies in all of gaming history, being completely okay with it. Even advertising it. A year later, there was the biggest shitstorm yet of the world's second most popular game, behind only Minecraft, Fortnite, having cross-platform play blocked once more by Sony. And that decision is the key today to exposing, once again, what a consumer-hostile bullshit company Sony really is. Behind whatever they say publicly, here is the truth. And why anyone and everyone from the player base who leaps to Sony's defense or gives them the benefit of the doubt in any circumstance is a complete, clueless, utter, and irredeemable moron. See, right now, Apple and Epic Games are in court, pissing on each other's shoes about how things like revenue share works for the skeevy world of microtransactions in games like Fortnite when they're under the umbrella of Apple's storefronts. And how Epic thinks Apple's cut of this filthy, cancerous money train is just too big. It's unfair. I'm not going to dive into that argument, but within the documents exposed in the court case, Apple have shown conversations between Epic and Sony, where the former was trying to convince the latter to do the consumer-friendly thing of simply enabling cross-platform play. In fact, Epic was so desperate to get Sony to just play ball, they were like, hey, we'll make press releases, we'll make you seem like the hero, we'll make you seem like you're the God King giant of cross-platform play, we're gonna do anything we can to shine a golden, glorious light on you in a positive way. And Sony was still like, nah. Sony's excuse this time wasn't the, we're happy to have the conversation, nor was it the repugnantly transparent lie of, think of the children. No, this time, being an internal, business-facing document, not a carefully designed manipulative public statement at all, this time, their real motives were made crystal clear. They do not care about the user. They do not care if users on their platform have a worse experience. They do not care if users on their platform have fewer options, fewer freedoms, fewer choices. All they care about is,
does it put money directly in our pockets?
If the answer is no, then screw the consumer, bugger the end user who spent hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on their hardware and in their storefronts. Of course, that has started to change slightly over the last 18 months or so, and Sony did this change by doing something even more aggressive than what Epic have taken Apple to court over, which is why Apple brought it up in the first place, because, it's a lot worse. Sony are not just taking a share of microtransactions, but demanding they have a nice big fat slice of the entire bottom line of profit in the form of royalty payments whenever Sony considers its players constitute a certain percentage of users overall. In other words, Sony are like, well, your game is pretty popular on our platform, we deserve some of your overall profit. And if you don't agree to give that to us, well, you can't have cross-platform play. And in case you're about to say, yeah, but I bet Microsoft do it too, I bet everyone has a deal like that. No, they don't. Not even Apple demand that. Tim Sweeney, head of Epic, was directly asked about this in court, so presumably under oath and everything, and Sony is the only company demanding this, the only company holding crossplay hostage like this. And even then, they demanded Epic pay some extra just to enable crossplay to begin with. More recently, there's the example of Genshin Impact, a wildly popular free-to-play gacha-style action RPG. When that launched, and indeed to this day, Sony users are being held hostage there too. Not only can they not cross-play, but they can't even cross-save. If you start your Genshin Impact experience on Sony, you are trapped on Sony. You can't take it to any of the other platforms that game supports. You have to start fresh with a brand new account. I can cross-save seamlessly between iPhone and PC when I played this game, but PlayStation users on this game are trapped on that system. No crossplay, no cross-save, no choice. Why? Well, because Sony can't directly profit from being nice to their pathetic slave race of Sony ponies, and it seems clear that the publishers of Genshin Impact probably told Sony to go Roger themselves when they tried to bully them into what they forced Epic into, just so users could have a choice. Anyone who plays Minecraft already knows quite well that Sony have demanded that the game use an entirely separate and non-platform transferable microtransaction currency system for their Sony platform, whereas every other platform uses standard Minecraft coins or whatever they're bloody well called. Sony have to have something different because they can't fully profit from it, otherwise can they? It is a huge pain in the ass for users, it is whoppingly consumer hostile, and it only happens on Sony's platform. And that is not even the only example of this exact same thing happening. This is another unnecessarily and consumer hostile roadblock Sony demands of any title hoping for cross-play privileges. And they also enforce any game using crossplay have an option that just shuts it off completely. Why? Because Sony are shitlords of the highest order. They hate their user base. All they care about is your wallet. Which, to be fair, is true of most companies, but most companies see value in, consumer trust, loyalty, faithfulness, being nice to the end user in hopes that niceness will be returned in some form of loyalty. But no, Sony don't need it. Sony have their Sony ponies. Sony have their blind idiots, so brainwashed, so brain dead, they're basically slaves. So again, anyone who self-identifies, who claims to be a PlayStation fanboy is demonstrably 100% mentally deficient and a sad little willing slave child to this corporate monster who would rather see your experience in simple entertainment significantly worsened compared to everybody else's experience if they can't make a profit off anything and everything that you might do. Hey, wonder why M.2 support still hasn't been activated in the PS5 for storage expansion? Well, my bet? The current silicon shortages mean that Sony can't source enough memory chips to release their own branded M.2 drives to make a profit off enabling this promised feature. Doing it now would be good for the consumer, yeah, but every user using that feature to upgrade their storage on the PlayStation 5 would be buying someone else's M.2 drives, and PlayStation wouldn't make a friggin' cent off it. I guarantee you, the instant they turn that option on, there will be a branded Sony M.2 drive to be purchased by idiot Sony ponies. I'd even bet Sony will try and force the line that other M.2 drives void the warranty or, they can't guarantee compatibility or anything, even though M.2 is a standard. Just wait and see on that one. I'd be happy to be wrong, but given Sony's track record, I bet you I'm right. These, amongst so many other reasons, is why I personally avoid giving Sony my money whenever there is an option. Outside of system exclusives, I'll buy a game on literally any other platform I have a choice with. As should you, frankly. We all love games. And with the existence of platform exclusives, that can mean, well, we either choose to miss out on platforms we would otherwise want to boycott, or we compromise. And yes, I compromise. And I resent it every time I'm forced to do it. But frankly, games like Spider-Man are worth a little compromise. But know that if I had literally any other choice to play it, I would make any other choice. Sony have neither earned nor deserve any customer loyalty at all, and certainly no fandom. They're a figurative toxin in the industry, and when even other corporate monsters like Microsoft take consumer positive steps, and even when the notoriously, fiercely protectively family-friendly likes of Nintendo can enable crossplay for the sakes of the users and not the bottom line, then you know who the shitlicker is, don't you? It's Sony! Do not trust them. Do not fan them. Do not stan them, or whatever the friggin' term is these days. They can, have, and will lie right to your face in order to put their hand in your pocket. Sony ponies, you are pathetic. Rethink your lives. And with that, rant done. I'm sure I don't need to ask for your feedback on this one. Most of you probably haven't even made it to the end of the video before exploding into the comments section. But if you have made it to the end of the video here to hear my sign-off, then thank you very much for watching. Hopefully along the way you've done the sub and the bell and things, stuff like that. And thank you as always to the patrons who are scrolling up above there. I am Blanty, and I will catch you next time.